Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing great. I am Neha Rajvanshi and I welcome you all in today's class, that is English class of class 8th. So students, in the previous video we have completed reading with our first poem from the book Honeydew. The name of the poem is The Ant and the Cricket, that is an adaptation from Aesop's fable. So this poem is a very good example of fable, and now I am very much sure that you all know what fable means. So fable is a poem in which there is a story, or we can say there is a moral story that is having some message for us, and generally such stories are having some animals as characters. Okay, so in this poem we are having two characters, that is ant and cricket, and yes, definitely this poem is having a very good message for all of us. So we have completed the explanation part and we have discussed all the literary devices that are used in the poem, and I am very much sure that everything is clear to you all. In today's video we will solve the questions, we will see the comprehension part, but first of all we will see the summary of the poem so that one more time we can revise about the central idea of the poem. So let's begin our today's video with the summary of the poem. In the poem The Ant and the Cricket, there is a young silly cricket who used to sing during the summers and spring. So in the poem, that is The Ant and the Cricket, in this poem we are having a cricket that is young but at the same time that is very silly, or we can say very stupid, and that cricket he used to sing during the summers and springs. It means we can say when the time was favorable, when the weather was very pleasant, at that time that cricket he was enjoying his time, or we can say he was wasting his time, okay, because he was having no concern for his future, he was having no worry for his future, and actually he wasted his entire time when the time was favorable, when the days were good. He enjoyed his life and never cared for the future. So at that time when it was summer, when it was spring, at that time he enjoyed his life and never ever he cared for his future, never ever he was having any planning, any consideration about his future. When the winter arrived, he could not find a small amount of food to eat. But now what are the consequences? What is the consequences when finally the season changed, when finally winters were there, winter season arrived? At that time that cricket, now he was unable to find even a small amount of food to eat. Why? Because he did not store, because he did not collect, because he did not gather any food when the days were good, when the days were favorable. And now because it is winter season, so now he is having no stored food, and at the same time he is unable to find any flower, or we can say any leaf. Why? Because everything is covered under snow. Okay, so now that cricket he is having so many problems, so many difficulties. He went to an ant and requested him to lend him a shelter and some food. So now this cricket, he is having only one hope. That hope is that, he is thinking that the ant can help him. So now finally he went to the ant, and there he requested, okay, that he requested for shelter and he requested for some food. So he was starving, he was having no food, he was suffering from hunger, and at the same time he was having no shelter, and it was very cold, it was winter season, it was raining. The ant wanted to know why did he not save anything when it was summer. So when the cricket, when he went to the ant for getting some help, and he told that what he want, at that time the ant, they were very much curious, they just wanted to know that what's wrong that cricket, why he is having no food, why he is having no shelter. So they just wanted to know that why did he not save anything when the weather was good, when it was summer, when it was spring. At that time why did he not collect, why did he not store some food for himself? After knowing the truth that the cricket was busy in singing and enjoying the good weather at that time, the ant advised him to pass away the winter by dancing. So when the cricket, when he told his entire story that what he was doing in summer season and spring spring season. So after knowing the entire truth, अब जो ant है now obviously they are very much shocked, they are very much surprised, and when they came to know this thing that this cricket, it was very much busy in singing and enjoying the good weather. So now finally the ant, they advised him to pass away the winter by dancing. So the ant, they were having this reply, they said that okay, if you passed that good time of summer and spring in enjoying and singing, so just pass away this winter by dancing. The poem has a message. The poet says that some crickets have 4 legs and some have 2 legs, and now this poem is having a very good message. And in the end of the poem, the poet is saying that there are some cricket who are having 4 legs, but at the same time there are some cricket who are having 2 legs. So this line is having a poetic device that is known as metaphor, because here the poetry is presenting a comparison, because we all know that no cricket is having 2 legs, all the crickets, they are having 4 legs, but here the poet is using this line, this phrase. Why? Because here the poet is referring human beings, okay, as a 2-legged cricket. He means that some human beings are also like the cricket of the story. So here the poet just wanted to say this thing, that there are some human beings who are just like the cricket of this story. They just enjoy their life when it is good or favorable time. How? Because those human beings are just like the cricket, and they also waste their time, they also enjoy only when the time is good, when the time is favorable, or when all the situations are favorable. They do not think or care about the future, and at that time they are having no worry, they are having no planning, they are having no consideration regarding their future. One should always remember that good and bad time are parts of our life, and time changes, but the message is that when we are having good time, when we are having favorable time, at that time we should remember this thing, that the time changes. जो time है वो कभी भी same नहीं रहता, and good time and bad time, they are the part of our life. So when we are having good time, we should aware about the future needs and start working for it at the earliest. So this is the reason that if we are having good time, if we are having favorable time, okay, so at that time it is not wrong that you are enjoying or you are having fun, but at the same time you should have some planning, you should have some consideration about your future needs, and you should start working for that at the earliest. Okay, so this is the message that this poem is having, and the poet, very successfully the poet is able to convey this message through this poem. Okay, so now I am very much sure that the poem, the message, the explanation part, everything is clear to you all. And now let's see the questions. Question first. The cricket says, oh, what will become of me? When does he say it and why? So in this question, first of all, we are given with one line of the poem. The line is, oh, what will become of me? So the cricket, he said this line. So we have to answer that when does the cricket, he say it, and we also have to tell the reason that why the cricket, he said this line, that what will become of me. So now let's see the answer. The cricket speaks these words when in his home he finds no food to eat in winter. So now we are answering the question that the cricket, he speaks these words when in his home he finds no food to eat in winter. So when finally it was winter season, and in winter season the cricket, he was having no food to eat, he was unable to find anything to eat. At that time that cricket, he spoke these words. He wonders that as it was getting cold and he had nothing to eat in order to survive, he would die of starvation very soon. And now we are writing the reason. So the reason is at that time the cricket, he wonders that as it was getting cold, because it was winter season and snowfall was there, heavy rain was there, so it was getting colder and colder, and he was having nothing to eat. Okay, not a single piece of bread he was having in order to survive. So now he was thinking that obviously he would die of starvation, he would die of hunger very soon. So this was the reason that he said these words, that oh, what will become of me. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, सेकंड क्वेश्चन का फर्स्ट पार्ट, फाइंड इन द पोम द लाइन्स दैट मीन द सेम एज नीदर अ बोरोवर नॉर अ लेंडर बी, एंड दिस लाइन इज स्पोकन बाय अ वेरी famous poet, that is Shakespeare. Okay, so in this form we have to find a line, we have to pick out a line from the poem that means exactly the same, neither a borrower nor a lender be, and this line is written by Shakespeare. Okay, so we have to find a similar line. So now let's see the answer. The line is, but we ants never borrow, we ants never lend. So this is the line that we have read in the poem, but we ants never borrow, we ants never lend. So this line means exactly the same, neither a borrower nor a lender be. Part 2, what is your opinion of the ants principle? So now in this question we have to write our viewpoint, we have to write that what do we think about ants principle. Okay, and what principle is talking about here? Ants principle, that never ever they borrow anything and never ever they lend anything. This is the principle, this is the system that is maintained by the ants. So now we have to comment on this system, we have to comment that what do we think about this system, about this principle of ants. So now let's see the answer. The ants principle is not bad. So obviously this principle of ant, it is not at all a wrong decision, or we can say it is not at all a bad principle. It teaches a lesson to everybody to plan for the rainy day, and this is actually very important system, because this system actually teaches a lesson to everyone, to everybody, to plan for the rainy day. Rainy day means all the difficult time, right? जब time हमारे favor में नहीं है और we are having so many difficulties, so actually always we should have some kind of planning for that rainy day. We should always have some planning for all difficult time, so that one might not need to borrow from anyone in time of need. So that if we are having proper planning for our difficult time, so at that time we might not need to borrow from anyone in time of need. We should work hard and make the best utilization of time and available resources, and at the same time the message is that always we should work very hard, and all these resources that we are having, all the resources that are available, so we should utilize those resources at the best. Okay, so when time is favorable and we are having all the resources, so we should utilize those resources. Okay, हमें बिल्कुल भी ऐसे नहीं बैठना है कि हम कुछ काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. Always we should work very hard, and always we should have some planning for our future. So this is the message that this principle of ant is having. Next question, the ant tells the cricket to dance the winter away. Do you think the word dance is appropriate here? If so, why? So in this question again we are given with one phrase that is used in the poem, that is dance the winter away, and these words were spoken by ants and they said these words to cricket. So now we have to answer that in this phrase the word dance, is this word is appropriate here, and if yes, if our answer is that yes, this word is appropriate, then we have to tell the reason, we have to give reasons to support our answer, that why we are saying so, why this word dance is appropriate here. So now let's see the answer. The word dance here means merry making and wasted time. So what dance actually means here? Dance means to have fun, or we can say to waste time. It is appropriate here, and this word is very appropriate, very suitable here. Why? The irresponsible cricket does not deserve any sympathy, and now we all know that cricket, it was very irresponsible. Okay, and because of its own carelessness, because of its own irresponsibility, now he was having all the problem. This is the reason he actually does not deserve any sympathy, he does not deserve any help from the ants. The ant means that the cricket should dance in the winter just as he did during the summer, and now the end they actually wanted to say that now in this winter season the cricket he should dance just he was doing during the summer, during the spring. Okay, so the end they actually wanted to convey this message that when the time was good, when the weather was good, at that time you were enjoying, you were wasting your time, you were singing. So now just dance and just let the winter pass. Okay, so this was the message, this was the reply that the ants they gave. Next question, part 1. Which lines in the poem express the poet's comment? Read them aloud. So now in this question we have to again pick out the lines from the poem that actually express the poet's comment. Okay, so now let's see the answer. The poet's comment is expressed in the last 2 lines. So the last 2 lines of the poem, they are the lines that express the comment that was given by the poet. So now let's read the line. Fox called this a fable. I will warrant it true. Some crickets have 4 legs and some have 2. So this is the comment, this is the message of this poem, or we can say this is the essence of this poem, that Fox called this a fable, but I will warrant it true. Some crickets have 4 legs and some have 2. Part 2, write the comment in your own words. So now in this question we have to explain that comment, we have to explain those 2 lines of the poem. So now let's see the answer. People say that this story of the cricket and the ant is imaginary or a fable with a moral. So what do those 2 lines actually mean? So we are now explaining those 2 lines. So we are writing that generally people believe this thing, generally people say this thing, that this story of the ant and the cricket, it is a imaginary story, it is a fictitious story with a moral. But I think that the story is true and educative. But what the poet actually wanted to say, the poet wanted to say that according to him this is a true story and this is a very educative story. Some people live only in the present, they spend what they earn and make merry, but they regret this habit later on. And next the poet wanted to say that there are some people, there are some human beings who live only in the present, who only enjoy the present time, who are having no planning for their future. They just wanted to enjoy their present life, their present time, and they spend whatever they earn. Okay, so all the resources they are having, they don't store, they don't collect those resources, they just waste everything whatever they are having, and always they make merry, always they are busy in enjoying their life. But such people, they have to regret because of this habit later on. But in future when they have to face some difficulties, when they have to face some difficult time, at that time such people they regret. Okay, तब उनको फील होता है कि जब टाइम अच्छा था, जब when they were having all the resources, तब उन्होंने उन resources को utilize क्यों नहीं किया, उन्होंने कुछ save क्यों नहीं किया, उन्होंने कुछ saving क्यों नहीं की. So this is the regret that all the people who are having when they are facing some difficulties, when they are facing some difficult time in their life. Hence the moral of the story is that we should always be prepared to work hard and ready to face adverse situation when they arise. So now what is the moral, what is the message that this story is having? So the moral is that always we should be prepared to work hard. So always we should work very hard, and always we should be ready to face all the adverse situation, all the bad situation, all the difficult situations when they arise. Okay, so always we should work very hard, and always we should have some planning to face the difficult situations, because yeah, this is a fact that time always changes. Okay, and if we are having good time, then definitely we have to face some bad, some tough time also, and if we are having some tough time, then definitely good time will also come. So it is a best option that when you are having good time, then always focus on your future, then always focus to face the difficult time, right? So this is the message, this is the moral that this story is having. So students, we have completed all the question answers here. I hope the poem, all the question answers and explanation part and the dictate devices that we have discussed, everything is clear to you all. It is a very interesting interesting poem, and this poem is having actually a very good message, right? And in the next video we will start reading with our next chapter. See you in the next video. Thank you.